Welcome. We will begin shortly. Thank you for joining my webinar on buying a home with NACA. I appreciate your time. Let's get started. Today's agenda, I will share with you a little bit about me, steps to buying a home, navigating the NACA process, and more. My name is ReShawna Leaven. I'm a licensed realtor with Keller Williams Realty in the state of Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. I have assisted home buyers in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia to purchase their homes successfully with the NACA process. I have several clients actually under contract and others attending workshops and much more. One thing I must state early on in the process, to go through the NACA process is going to take patience and hard work and having a great team, and you will have a great benefit in the end. So let's begin. What is NACA? You've heard of it, you saw it online, you're like, well, what is it? So, NACA is short for the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. NACA is a nonprofit HUD-certified organization that assists homebuyers and homeowners with education and housing counseling. Locally, they have 3 offices within a 100-mile radius, one in D.C., Baltimore, and Richmond, Virginia. They have buyer workshops on Saturdays and purchase workshops on Thursdays. All workshops must be scheduled with NACA to guarantee admittance. For more information, visit NACA.com. NACA truly is the best mortgage. That's why they call it America's Best Mortgage. I call it the no loan because there's no closing costs, no lender fees, no down payment, no credit score requirement, no points, and no PMI. You also have the ability to buy your interest rate down, which I will talk about later on in the lesson. So, steps to buying a home with NACA. So first you have to attend the homebuyer workshop to learn the NACA's process and receive your member ID. This video is a guideline of what you need to do. So even though you're watching this video and know what you have to do, you still have to follow NACA's way. I just want to stress that. So after you attend this seminar, NACA will schedule your counseling session with your counselor to review your budget worksheet and other documents. So you'll need to upload them to your web file. You'll have a web file with your NACA ID. That's the most important number you're going to need because every time you speak with your counselor or speak to anybody at NACA, you're going to need to know your ID. I recommend that you scan all your documents and email them to you so you'll have them for quick reference throughout the process, because if you need a document, say if you're out and about or you're at work or somewhere else where you don't have access to a computer, if it's on your email, you can just send it to them directly. That's just a recommendation. So after you meet with your counselor, they're going to give you what's called an action plan. So your action plan tells you all the necessary steps that you have to take, and you may have several meetings, 1 meeting, 2 meetings, before you can actually get NACA qualified. Once you complete your action items, your file will be submitted to the underwriting department. If the underwriter department gives your counselor the green light, you'll be asked to attend the purchase workshop. All purchase workshops are held on Thursdays. So you have to attend the purchase workshop in order to get your pre-approval and qualification amount. At the meeting, they will ask you if you have an agent. You have the choice of choosing your own real estate agent. I will talk about NACA agents later on in this lesson. After you hire a real estate agent, you will need to let NACA's real estate department know, and that's also known as RED, so that's real estate department for short, to know what your agent's name is and their contact information, because they will be emailed on all correspondence throughout the process moving forward. Next, you work with your agent with your offer, your contract submission, and follow your additional action plans from your counselor, underwriter, and all the items that you need, that your agent tells you what you need to do to move forward. Then you go to closing. So that's a simple version of what happens. So property types. What types of homes qualify for the NACA loan? You can purchase a brand new house or an existing home. NACA does not allow for construction loans, so if you can't buy land and build a house on it, the house has to be there already. But you can buy a brand new home in a new community. You can do that. So you can purchase a single family, townhome, condo, multi-unit up to 4 units, a co-op, or you can renovate an existing home. What I will say, if you are considering a multi-unit, get approved for the multi-unit as well as the other type of home. They consider single family if you're doing a condo, townhouse, or single family, just so you know that. That's because it's just 1 unit. So credit scores. Every lender wants to know your credit score, but NACA is different. There is no minimum credit score. NACA is the only for buyers, is not only for buyers with scores less than 600. I have clients that have gone through the process that had 650, 825. It doesn't really matter. Buyers use the program because of the benefits it provides to them, not because they have bad or good scores. Not having a credit score requirement is just a bonus of the program. Your NACA counselor will look at your credit profile to determine your credit worthiness in the past 12 to 18 months. You cannot have had any negative items within this time period, or you may not get approved, or you won't. So you want to make sure you have what's called clean credit, so nothing late in that time period. If you've had a late and you have everything else, you're going to have to wait 12 months to have good credit. Clean credit, meaning nothing derogatory. You may also have to write letters of explanation for your items as well, for the reasons why things were negative, why something was late. So don't be surprised at that. So let's talk about debt to income ratios, otherwise known as DTI. Very few people understand it, so let me explain it. So in mortgages, there is what's called a front ratio, which is the housing, and the back ratio, which is the monthly debts plus the housing. So the front ratio for NACA is 31% of your gross income. The gross income is before taxes, so that's the money you take, not the money you take home, that's the money you earn before taxes. In some cases, they will allow, though, for 33%. Though that's a case-by-case basis, it depends, but you can ask your counselor, could you go up? But it just depends on your credit file and how much debt you have. So that's important. So your back ratio for NACA is 40% of the gross income. So let's say, for instance, you make $85,000 annually. So what you want to do is you want to take the $85,000 and divide that by 12, which is 12 months, because 12 months is a year, and you're going to get 7083. Now you multiply the 7083 by 31%, and you get 2195. Next, to find your back-end ratio, you multiply your monthly gross income by 40%, and you get 2833. Now you subtract the back-end ratio from the front-end ratio to get the maximum monthly payment you can have in a mortgage payment. So in this example, that's only $637. So if your monthly car notes, credit card minimum, and student loans are above that amount, then you're going to have to do a different scenario. So what you would do is you would take the back end ratio and subtract all of your expenses, and that's the amount that you can get. So let's say you take the back end ratio and you had $2,000 that you were going out with a card, a credit cards, and student loans. Then you could only have a mortgage of $833. So you see my example. So if you have any questions on your unique debt to income ratio, I'll be more than happy to assist you with that. I can create a calculator for you. We can go over it to get you out of debt. So payment shock, it is a shock. So let's talk about payment shock. Payment shock is the difference between what you desire to pay and what you're paying now. So for example, you take your 31% of the housing ratio that you want minus your current rent. So let's say you're only paying $1,000 in rent right now, and you desire, and assuming that you qualify for a $2,000 mortgage payment, you would need to have 6 months of savings for that difference, because NACA is not going to be able to verify your rental history that you can afford to make a $2,000 a month payment. They won't be able to verify that. So the payment shock difference will be $6,000, but it's a difference of $1,000 each month that you're going to have to save. And there cannot be any gaps between this. So they say, well, oh, you were doing it strong, months 1 and 2, then you had a problem month 3, you have to start the process over. So only do it when you are ready to do it. So keep in mind also, your debt to income ratio is a big factor into the amount that you're allowed to obtain. Even though you think you might be able to afford it, they're not going to bend the rules on that. So interest rate buy down. My favorite part about the NACA program itself is the interest rate buy down. So on a 30-year loan, it costs you 1% to buy the rate down, 1/4 of a point. On a 15-year loan is 1% to buy down 1/2 a point. So let's look at this example. So you have a home that you want to buy at $300,000, and NACA's current interest rate is 3.625 on a 30-year loan. Your desired interest rate that you want to get is 2.625. It will cost you $12,000, which is 4 points, to buy it down 1% to get the rate at 2.625, which is great. Who has a 2.625 interest rate in the current market? Nobody. Not fixed, not even adjustable rate mortgages. So let's take an example. Well, no, let's, before you look at homes, you want to check your affordability based on interest rates, property information, and your buy down chart. You have to look at more than just the sales price. What your expenses are in the home. You have to look at the annual taxes. Are there any association fees and any other assessments? So you can get a customized calculator. I'd be happy to email it to you. If you already have an agent, have your agent email me directly, because I would not be able to email you directly, but I don't mind emailing it to the other agent, but I wouldn't be able to give it to you. So let's analyze what makes up a mortgage payment. So the first part of a mortgage is what's called PITI. The P is for principal, the I is for interest, the T is for taxes, and the last I is for insurance. If you have a loan that requires private mortgage insurance, that would be added to the monthly mortgage payment amount. I share this in this webinar just so you can tell the difference. So just the graph does not necessarily mean the percentages of the loan, is just for an illustration. But NACA does not have PMI. But if you have another loan, you may or may not have PMI. So I just share this so you know the difference. So if you're purchasing a home with a homeowners or condo association, some homes have both, your lender will add the association dues to the monthly mortgage payment as a qualifying factor. So it's essential that you know your maximum monthly payment amount that you can't exceed, because you could be denied if your ratios are too high. So if the lender stated that your maximum payment with everything cannot exceed $1,650, You cannot go to 1651, period, because that will put you over your ratio amount. So that's very important. So home inspection. Dun, 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 dun. Well, no, it's really not that grim, but you need to have one. So with NACA, you must have a home inspection. You should have one whether you use NACA or not, because you want to make sure what's going on with the house. So it's an expense and it's part of your due diligence when you're buying a house. So in your contract, you'll have a home inspection contingency period. Well, I hope you do, which is a certain amount of days in which the report is due, and it has to be given back to the seller along with your requested repairs. Keep in mind, the seller may or may not repair the items. It's their right. They can say no, and if they say no, you can decide to walk away or stay with the home and repair them yourself. So NACA will at that point send you a repair list, which I will go over in the next slide about what they're going to do. Remember though that you have to take a picture in front of the house. That's part of your report. Sometimes that gets missed. That's why I want to mention that. If you're not going to use me, I mean, I always point that out. But you must be present at the home inspection. After the report is complete, your inspector will send it to NACA. You do not need an inspection on new construction, though I do recommend you get it. So the hand department, they're holding your hand and making sure you're doing the right thing. So the hand department works with buyers and their home inspections, and renovation loans. Once the report is reviewed, the hand department will send you a list of items in the report that are going to be required and recommended. So required items are going to have to be done either by you or the seller. So if the seller agreed to do the recommended, even the recommended or required repairs, you're going to need a second inspection. The second inspection has to be done before you'll be able to close. So I state that. So you want to make sure the other parties know, if you're not using an agent, that they know that it has to be done within a certain amount of time, because you won't be able to close on time. So once the second inspection is uploaded, hand will give you what's called a hand has cleared this, which means you're good to go and you can move forward. So please note, I'm going to say it again, you cannot close with outstanding items on the hand report. So they have to be done. So I've had in the past, when I first started with NACA, I've had, transactions where, it was one thing that was either missed or not done correctly, which means we had to get a third or fourth inspection. So make sure those things are done correctly. And make sure you have an agent that's going to look at those things. Very important. So priority versus non-priority member. This is so confusing to people. Like, what are you? What status are you? So let's just go over it. So a priority or targeted member is a household that has income under the median income in the area. So you'll have to look that up or ask your agent to assist you to look that up. Priority members have the ability to buy the interest rate down to the lowest amount possible. Non-targeted priority members have a household income that's above the immediate income for the area. Non-priority members have limitations on the maximum amount of their interest rate buy-down contribution. NACA does not necessarily shy away from people that make over a certain amount, though they favor the targeted members, but anybody, no matter what your income level is, can use a NACA loan. It's just you may not have the ability to buy your interest rate down to the lowest amount possible based on your income, because that benefit is given to the targeted members. So, useful tips to make your process easier. So, I come up with a list of resources. At the bottom, you'll find member services, hand in reds, hours of operation. Member services is actually open on Saturdays for a limited time during Saturday. So I recommend joining the NACA's forum. Here you'll find posts, some, recommendations, things that people have gone through, people have shared their experiences. It's a good forum. So you should attend the Achieve the Dream events. Couple events coming up soon. You can possibly shorten your time for approval if you attend the workshop, if you have everything in line. All the workshops and approvals are done on the same day, which is a benefit, so it's a shorter timeline. You can get access to the purchase workbooks and required documents with the purchase resource link that I have on the page. And remember this, since NACA is a nonprofit organization, it requires its members to serve and give back. You will need to volunteer with at least 5 activities prior to your approval. Please talk to a member services or your counselor to talk about what is classified as an activity and when this must be completed by, because that will be a condition on your loan. When will your mortgage payment be due after you buy your house? This is important because a lot of people don't know, but I want you to be educated and aware so you plan, so you have enough money. You don't want to have, a rent payment and a mortgage payment at the same time, because I'm pretty sure you can't afford both. Even if you can, you shouldn't. So let's talk about it. So if you close on your home between the 1st and the 5th of the month, you will pay interest for that remaining month. So you see the chart on the left. So if you close between here and here, you will pay interest for all these days till the end of the month. Then your mortgage payment will be here that following month. So for example, if you close on January 4th, your first mortgage payment will be February 1st. So next example, if you close on your home between the 6th and the last day of the month, you will pay interest for the remainder of the month and the next month. So your first payment will be the following month. So if you close on July 15th, your first mortgage payment will be September 1st. Keep note, you cannot close on a home on a Saturday, Sunday, holidays. And all closings must take place at the NACA office. If you are locally in my area, if your primary office is Baltimore, you can close in DC. If you're in DC, you can close in Baltimore. If you had to close in the Richmond location, you can, but you have to let them know ahead of time. It's a possibility, and it also depends on your actual title company that you choose, whether they can do that or not. So check with your agent on that. So real estate agents, lastly, this is what we're going to talk about. So an outside real estate agent, what is that? What does that mean? So that is an agent that has attended the NACA Realtor workshop and has the knowledge of the process and procedures. They may or may not have completed a transaction with NACA, but they are aware of the process and what they have to do. Next, there's a NACA referral agent. So those are agents within the NACA network that NACA refers to clients, to their NACA buyers. A NACA in-house agent, those are agents that work for NACA. They only work with NACA home buyers. They have no other outside clients. They only work with NACA clients. They can't work with any outside business. Just remember, you have the choice to select what type of agent you want. Interview with all 3 and see which one is the best to fit your needs. I'm sure you're wondering which one am I? I am an outside real estate agent that has knowledge of NACA, and I assisted NACA clients, actually refer clients throughout the country to other agents and help other agents learn about the NACA process. I'm a great advocate for the program. I love it. It's great for my clients, so I would advocate for it. That's why I'm training on it. I've closed over 10 transactions recently with the program and currently have several in the pipeline now. I thank you for attending my webinar on how to buy a home with NACA. If you have any additional questions, please call me or email me. I'm ReShawna Leaven with